that one is that we see content of who we want the psychologist to be defined as. But as of now, for him, legally is a registered person under the Council of Psychologists. Then later on, in our committees, we sort of whom do we want to be as is. So, but for us here, that's when we shall come out with our Uganda definition of a psychologist. And then we make it in the context of the constitution of council.
It is very easy. We just decide to adopt either the American or the British model, because those are the two that we need to deal with. It's either British or American.
But you know,
afford to be registered by the council, but they will not necessarily have free.
It's not possible. We shall register you.
That's the detail. Obtained masters and above.
That's the British model.
Then, for bachelors and below, up to diploma, they are counselors. We don't put the word psychologist. So, if we need to reach a point where we have to, I don't know whether this year or it will be agreement to us, whether we have to differentiate between who is a psychologist, at what level of training does one qualify to be a psychologist, or experience gathered over time, may not have the masters but have practiced enough.
Counselor, as distinct from counseling psychologists, because that's the British model. By you people who are training, and the question we will ask you when that time comes is, when do you need a counselor and when do you need a counseling psychologist? If you cannot make a distinction, we will have to drop the counselor.
Within, to regulate within their own mandate.
But not below the standards of the council.
Again, because that's what we do.
It can't be below the standards of the council.
That's what we do regulating with the law.
So now, what this one tells me is that now we need to break down in terms of membership.
Yeah, that can be.
Data, right? When it comes to issues of membership here, you may not see this constitution. It's because you need to what? And we do not even need to define psychology because there is a criteria for registration. The committee on registration will set for you requirements. Those requirements is a definition of a psychologist. You don't have them, you cannot be registered, you must have this qualification, you must have this paper, you must have done this until you meet these requirements. Now, when you meet these requirements, in the context of these constitutions and in the context of Uganda, you are a psychologist. If you do not meet it, you cannot be registered under this. So even if you are with an association legally somewhere, you are not a psychologist.
Okay. Regan, there's something where there's practicum,
Yes.
and there's the award of any degree or diploma and obtained in an integrated training program recognized by the council.
Against us, something in their favor is that right now there is so much need for example, mental health services, and not everybody, not every clinic can afford to have, there is a drive out there to train people as fast as possible. So probably we need to know how we are going to respond to these people, exactly what argument we are going to put forward.
Actually, moment as an association, that's number one. If we achieve that, that's second objective. That is going to worsen the situation, because that's the argument we use in psychology. Give help that is unhelp. If you're going to talk to me, try and help me. By the time you've left me, I'm more confused. Please don't enter my room. That's exactly the arguments we use in psychology. We shall use them. We will demonstrate, but you cannot do it unless you are an association. We will demonstrate that not every counselor counsels. No. They just talk and they confuse ordinary conversations with growth-oriented conversations. Those arguments, we can easily make them, but we cannot make them unless we are one. So right now, the real big problem is, are we one? Because if we are one, We can't fail. I'm telling you, in 4 years, nobody will call themselves councillors. No one. Because we would have gone to Parliament and convinced them that like medical doctors, we deal with people's health. Whether it's at work, whether it is in the home, whether it's in the school, anywhere, we deal with people's lives. And they will know if we have agreed to put that together. And even now, already in our heads are there. We simply do not hear. Let's agree on this constitution. Because once we have it, and we go to Parliament as one association, we sit among ourselves and they find strategies. They're actually easy. Because that's what the lawyers have done.
That's what I was trying to tell Dr. Dehatem during our discussion, that as you register and gather membership, is also to lobby for registration, as I said in Parliament, is to lobby in the time frame of about 4 years. You need to have a legislation, just like the accountants do have, the Accountants Act. All these institutions, most of these institutions have a legislation in the county, an act of Parliament that governs. When you go to lobby for the Act of Parliament, you are going to tell them that fine, whereas people are studying qualifications called psychology in this country, you are going to leave for us, the council, the right to determine who should study psychology, what should be the content of the course of psychology, and what should
Uganda Counseling Association, for the last 10 years, they've been trying to get disoriented. How do we go? So, but to me, this is the best way to go. What we have been doing, we have been saying, can we attach ourselves to the Ministry of Health? Can we attach ourselves to education? And we just cannot fit here. But in Butarika, people, young men are dying of drugs. They talk about, now they are talking a lot about sex education in schools. Who is going to do it? Yesterday I was in a curriculum, this with a curriculum review. They have a whole set of, actually almost 50% of it is about behavior, human behavior, human development. But you know,
They are not
ask
people
them
there.
who is the expert behind this. This guy told me actually, he told me there's someone in the Ministry of Education. And actually I told him tomorrow we have a meeting and we want to put our course together. This curriculum should not go any further unless we have an input as the psychologists in Uganda. So even when they go there, they realize they are not receiving learning to come to this level. So some of the courses, I think PSA is the one which is a little more amorphous.
With counseling in psychology.
Yes. And just to be clear, a lot of encroachers, people that are saying that they are doing CBT, for example, and you're wondering exactly what are you doing? How can you even sit in a session with a person for 3 hours? What are you doing? But they are calling themselves clinical psychologists, and I am all for. I'm all for this process. I was just thinking, actually the thing that made me really think so much about this was the term HIV cancer. You know, there are so many in Uganda trained for either 2 days or 2 months or 2 years. And you know, these are just things that we are going to meet in future. Sorry, you mentioned
What about the problems you are going to face? Please, let's move forward.
I think those problems can be solved.
Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Time is against us. We are still 21. We are still 21 of 17
As long as
pages.
all the stakeholders heads are here, I think we shall move.
Prof, read that one.
Okay, the expressions legally qualified psychologist and the duly qualified psychologist, or anyone is importing a person recognized by law as a psychologist, or a member of the professions of psychologists, when used in the written law, the reference to that person shall be construed to mean a person registered as a psychologist under this constitution, or this kind of man, where the context so admits a person who's registered by the council under this constitution. Now that's really legal gymnastics. What does it mean?
Simple. Saying anywhere in this constitution where you see the word legally qualified psychologist. What do you qualified psychologist? Don't worry. It means a person who has been registered under
By
the
the
constitution as a psychologist. And that was why I was telling you up there that we do not need to define psychologist.
Because this, as long as
This
you
one is
register,
already-
Yes.
you are a psychologist.
And the criteria is within council.
Within council.
I think then the other one will have to be
Which one?
It's okay. We
Which
continue.
one? It's already.
No, we moved it. Oh.
We are introducing
Which one?
a new definition with the
Yes,
psychologist.
just
To tell you that if you did not understand the first one up there,
This is what we use now.
that confirm now that you cannot escape being a psychologist unless you go this one.
Alright, perfect. Article 3. Mission, that's what I love. I was looking for it.
You will have to improve on it. That is what I think should be your mission.
You sign. You sign.
Suicide.
You sign mission. I hope you don't mean suicide, eh? Can you call us
they say
suicide?
they're referring to the site.
USAID's mission is to provide a regulatory framework to union or associations of psychological societies and psychologists in Uganda, committed to scholarship and human development in our communities, country, East Africa, Africa, and the world. And I provide a regulatory framework to societies or associations of psychological societies and psychologists in Uganda, committed to scholarship and human development in our communities, country, East Africa, Africa, and the world. Okay, let me answer this very briefly. There's one thing I learned from lawyers, because I work with them, what we do is interpret. So sometimes they just repeat to make sure that you are on the same page. Please go ahead. I mean, you have to understand that with legal language. It's not English. So go ahead. Either.
Okay, why I put there, I said societies, associations of...
Yes, and that's my name. As long as we are doing with this, I'm covered. Now, so, Article 4, the objectives of the association.
Maybe before we go that, do you people wish to have the mission and the vision as well?
No, that's
Because if you wish to do so, you formulate, you give me a rough idea of what it
We
is.
will
Then
give
we
you
are
a vision, but not mission. We will give you a vision if time comes.
What about the principle you mentioned earlier?
That's what we are.
You can have a vision, but those are permanent. Missions are not permanent.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. They
Yes,
change.
sir.
And
It
mission is not permanent.
brings me to what we have again been struggling with. When you see a do not get anywhere, we assume we have a legal mandate, but it's not written anywhere. So I like this.
Has to be written.
I like this.
Mm.
Because we can go to the constitution and say,
Mm.
Okay, this is what.
But that's what the man, that was what I did.
I'm talking about over practicing. I'm in the field of psychology. Because whenever you're counseling, you are in the field of psychology. All the time. Whenever you're selecting, you are.
look at it again
We keep them. Because my intention when I put the word and all people engage in the field of psychology, I thought you guys will include everybody going there. But now I understand we are looking for psychologists proper. Not psychologists pretenders like me.
There's something where this was hard training in administering psychology, but he has some training elsewhere within the areas of psychology and is practicing. And you gave them, Nigerians were giving them a title. In Nigeria. So, and that's why you see a lot of coming in, people engaged in the field of psychology, but they are not within the definition of psychologists as put forward by council.
One of the things you normally do is make them associates.
Yeah.
But even with associates, they must meet minimum standards to become associates.
Now,
Okay, what we can do, Doctor, what we can do with those, there will be two things required. Set qualification for psychologists, registration, let's say, qualifications for people practicing in the field of psychology to be recognized to do this. And they may not necessarily be psychologists, but would be people registered under this constitution.
But you know, that's how tight psychologists are. Even for competence, emotional, whatever, quotient, they do all those stuff. And they will not let it to anyone. When I got there, they were trying to become an associate, one organization. They took, for them the biggest problem was teachers who had become counselors. That was the biggest problem. So everyone who was practicing as a teacher automatically became a member of the association. But any new person had to follow the rules.
Honorary or affiliates or associates are, because there are two problems. When we just say let's accept them, we're compromising on the standards. But if someone is an honorary, these credentials are given every day. And remember that those who are in the field practicing, when they are honorary, they cannot be held by the standards because they were not trained. They can make so many blunders. But we are saying we recognize the work that you're doing. The work that you've been doing and probably will continue to do. We will strongly advise them to go and get this qualification. Go for the refresher courses, come for the trainings and all that. For us at least, in our field, there's so much at stake for someone to just be called a clinical psychologist. For someone
Actually,
to get a license.
let me tell you, please do not make a mistake that there is a psychologist you can let loose. Don't let loose your psychologist on my workers, please. This one we must know.
Yeah.
We have the same level of danger we can create.
Even more.
We have the same level. If I have an industrial psychologist, this time we had a beautiful debate with one of these small organizations, but it's very rich. It's been selecting people. But after 6 months, the boys and girls are ready. So they come back. We will help you to select the right people that will work for you. Now, by committing ourselves to that, we can destroy that organization. We can. And if we're trained psychologists, that's a lot of ways. Now, I may not be destroying the individual, but I'm destroying the entire organization. And that's something we must know. Do not train a psychologist and say, this one is not so important, I can train half. None of us is half. So, the reason why we are here is to make sure that no one gets out with the title of psychology and does not understand the ways he or she carries. Others will not give the title of psychologist. That's what is happening in education. The confusion between teaching or learning and the educational psychologist practice. We have that problem because the distinction is hard to make here. It's this council that will help to make a distinction. So when you select the people he's talking about, they're super clever. Not because he's stupid, but because he's clever as a teacher and they exist. That's not a clinical psychology problem. It's not a left educational psychology. Those specializing in child education, they are there. Now a clinical psychologist could be brought in, but before you bring in a clinical psychologist, the educational psychologist must be able to spot that this child is not failing because he's stupid. He's failing because he's ahead of the teacher all the time. And they exist.
And the IQ levels are high.
Yes. So no, I wanted to make this one clear. Don't say, for us in clinical psychology, and I want to make this straight. Don't say for us in clinical psychology. Anyone who carries the title psychologist, you have the same weight. Because you are going to work on people's minds. When I was becoming a psychologist, I asked my professor, Professor Womba, where should I go? Clinical? He said, do you want to work with sick people? Or do you want to work with people who are normal? I said, I want to work with people who are normal. He says, industrial psychology. That's why I went to British. the Department of Occupational Psychology. But I had the choice because I had already got a sponsorship for an American degree in clinical psychology. During that time it was easy. I had both. But I said, me, I'm going to work with people who are normal. Now I can destroy the normal people and make them abnormal. If I don't take the same way. So I'm not saying no to that. Now, to come to where the debate was very simple. What we must know, we must see this in the context, and that's for everybody. We are managing two things. We are convincing ourselves to work together. Two, we are going to manage a transition. And you cannot confuse the transition management. Now I'm going into institutional psychology.
A sensitive transition.
Yeah, this is now what we call institutional psychology. So when you are transiting, you can destroy both.
So more power to the council.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable.
Actually, more power to the psychology.
Okay, so we are allowed to do that.
Yes. You start with your name. I know you. For me, I know you that you're a professor of psychology. How we go?
My name is John Unne. I'm a professor of psychology. I'm an industrial psychologist, organizational psychologist. I have been in psychology since 1971. I was actually the third intake. Psychology literally started in 1969 in Uganda. And I was the third intake. 69, 70, 71, that was the third intake. And for the time being, I think I'm the longest surviving trained psychologist.